To those that don't speak the languages that we speak, welcome back. To those who have been here before, those who are new here, welcome. Please start by subscribing if this is content that resonates with you. Regular greeting, welcome Stoners United, Wake and Bake Gang, Towoza Koko Gang, Makosi Gang, Dingaka Gang, Turcot Gang, Chakra Hands, Queer Gang, Queer Conscious, Knowledge Seekers, Knowledge Collectors, Woke Gang, Anti-Woke Gang. As long as we are all here in Love and Light, it is a Tuesday. It is a knowledge sharing session where we deal with spirituality on Tuesdays. So please, if you're new here and this is something that resonates with you, please just give us a subscribe there. Please engage with us in the comment section. Please like, please share. Thank you so much for everybody that is here, and let us get into today's episode. As promised, we are closing our season of Gap, and on the season of Gap, when we started, we always start with the things that align us with the season. We did this in our intro episode, and as you noticed, those who have seen the intro episode, we said the tree of life, the Persia tree, is the tree that is associated with our season in Gap. So as promised, we said this is gonna be our closing episode for season ya rona ya Gap. And when we started, those who started the series with us, they know when we did our intro episode, we mentioned the Persia tree as one of the things that align us with the season ya Gap. And with the Persia tree, I spoke briefly that it is the tree of life. So tree of life, with a lot of us that get into the woke space or the awakened states now, this would be like one of the first things maybe that we draw, maybe as a I actually have one here, maybe as your bracelet, or as something that you wear around your neck, or some people about your first tattoos, or when somebody understands the concept, as above so is below, they would gravitate towards this Persia tree, which is the tree of life. So today's episode, we're going to be unpacking the faculties that make up this tree of life. And I'm sure with some people, you've seen the representation where Asamo, there's Jehuti, there's, and it's not necessarily the creation story, but you're like, okay, what does this mean? So this is what we're going to be doing in this episode in Ayarona. Tuesdays are sometimes super late, so we're going to be doing that today. So we're going to start now. So it is 11 faculties. It's 11 faculties, even though the first faculty, which is at point 0, is not really counting as a faculty, right? So with this tree of life, remember we spoke about the creation story, and we spoke about how to get Gap, and we said that Gap is the materialization of everything that is happening in the cosmos, right? So we spoke in the other world, there are people who imagine things or think of things, and then now the third phase of creation, which is a story I know I still owe on our platform, but we did do an episode on the Moya podcast, and we spoke this third phase, this is where everything is materializing, right? So that is why it also implore. And when we touched on the moon series as well, I said that use this time to manifest things, because things are materializing now. It is the season ya harvest, it is the season ya Gap, where everything from the cosmos now is being brought to life, right? We spoke about that. So this is what the tree of life, in essence, if we are simplifying it, this tree of life just basically represents what is happening in the cosmos, now represented by the different entities or different energy houses now in the physical, right? So in order for us to still have that connection, so it's never one without the other. Like I always say, everything is interlinked, when we're speaking of this content. So this is basically what the tree of life does. It harmonizes the cosmic powers and then represents them as experienced by us on a human level. And I'm saying hue deliberately, but hue as in Hue. But on the physical realm, when manifested now in human form. All right, so that is the harmonization that this tree would represent. So in other places, I'm actually looking at a picture that I have. I'm glad I took it with me. A picture that I have, very significant friend of mine. And I doubt my friend knew what this tree was representing. But you would see sometimes the as above part would be the tree part with its branches and whatnot, and then the below part would be represented by the root. And sometimes they take it down to represent like the divine feminine, right? Where now, actually, let's not go further there, but let us start now. I don't want it to be a super long episode, because I know this content tends to be a little bit heavy, so like I say, with And the content that we're dealing with, I'm gonna touch on a little bit into this when we within the content. But it needs you to tap into your spiritual eye, you know, it needs you to resonate with it on a spiritual level, you know, because with some things, I'll speak more of it when we go deeper. But I want us to start now at the first points that you see there on top, which is point 0, the faculty as 0, right? Which is what we would say, like now in physical terms, the nothingness. But like I always say, in this concept, in this content that we're dealing with, you know, the nothingness is the everythingness as well at the same time. You know, there's the continuous principle, you know, which is a universal principle, the continuity, the everlastingness, the beginning is the end, the birth is birth is death, which is a rebirth, which is cyclical and continuous, right? So at the top there, that is where lies or a moon, or what you would normally be what a familiar word would be amen, right? So amen, we spoke also about creation story now got the faculty where now the creation cycle is ended, right? And but that is also the beginning point. Moring go amun, or the realm of, actually that's not going to those realms, but honale, there's a presence of amun there, right? Or ameni, which now we have known it to be the end of our prayers, or the end of getting your prayer is a manifestation of some sort, right? So we would say amen. So amun lies there now. So this is the true, the unseen, the essential divine nature of man. And man, by man I mean the human. But this is the true unseen divine energy, which can neither be destroyed nor created, right? So this is the all source of life. This is the beginning. This is now all source of consciousness and everything. And in other texts, when you go deeper into it a little bit, in other texts, it would be represented or humanized in a way, because we use metaphors and imagery in order to understand these principles, right? Not necessarily there's a blue man walking around, but when you're thinking Avatar, maybe they are, right? But anyway, in the context of mythology in Arona, so this is where all consciousness live. This is where all divinity, all the source of it. So this would be represented now in other texts by like a person all in blue, right? But this would denote now back to, remember we said noon, the primordial waters, the primeval time, the beginning of everything, where it would be sourced from the waters, right? And then from the waters now emerged the number 1 point, which is what we are going into now. But also remember that with some principles, it is, as much as we're explaining a little bit of it, right, and how I want us to always think of how everything is interlinked, you know, how but then when we go a level up, now asa exists in a macro scale now as ura. How does that happen? So we're gonna go, so don't be too confused, right? Don't be too confused. Just remember the principle behind it, right? And remember, with some of these netters or these energy representations, now this is now in a different realm, or from a macro scale to a micro scale, right? As much as Heru is part of Ora, is part of Asa, is part of, right? So just journey with me in terms of that, right? So now we get to the first faculty, the first official faculty, right? And not discarding 0 and not saying 0 is not a number. It is like I'm saying, it's the nothingness and the everythingness in one. And this is how I always refer to Unun, the great waters of abyss, Ukulukulwane, the great waters of nothingness, when nothing was in existence, right? But this is where all consciousness and all thought and all divinity would live, right? And then we go to the first faculty, which is the faculty of Asa, which is now the symbolism and transformation journey of the soul, right? And this is where now, remember, Asa would exist. This is now when we go into a spring equinox, this would be representation of life or a rebirth, right? But Asa also encompasses these energies, the life and death. Remember, so life and death, the beginning and the end, but remember, death ki rebirth as well, right? So this faculty also, how do we strengthen this faculty? By always seeking change and self-improvement. This is you strengthening now this cosmic principle, but now in the physical, right? So always seeking self-improvement, always seeking change. So this is the faculty, the omnipresent, right? So omnipresent, also denotes to the oneness of everything, where now you're not separating yourself from everything else. Remember when I speak of but again, one consciousness or the universal mind. So this would be where this would be exist, right? This is the place where we are able to shed whatever limitations that we have, and this is the place where we now seeking this evolving into our higher self, the self-improvement. So omnipresent, basically the word means hore, forever there, everywhere and anywhere at the same time, right? That is omnipresent. Then we get into the second faculty, which is the faculty ya Tehuti or Jehuti or Umlomogazi, Umlobigazi, or what that other gentleman we had a vento clock about would call it Tudo, right? And this is where the omniscient faculty would lie. This is, and what does the word omniscient mean? Omniscient means having an infinite awareness or understanding or insight, basically. So infinite and ending. So whenever you see this word omni, always don't use a colonial mind, but use your mind, Elaine. Yeah, just think, because I've encountered these terms from a religious point of view, right? Omnipresent, omni, whatnot, omni. But this is the all-knowing faculty that exists, right? This enables us, so this faculty enables us to manifest the indwelling divinity, to be able to resolve whatever problem that we have, or whatever thing that needs resolve, or whatever knowledge. So this is the faculty where sacred knowledge can be used in order to understand in order to understand things now on the physical realm, right? This is where we enhance and strengthen our mental faculties. This is this faculty, ya Tehuti, which is now this point that you see here on this picture, right? And this faculty now is strengthened by us always being in pursuit of higher intellect, spiritual intellect, and spiritual growth, so that is how you strengthen that. That is how now you put this cosmic power into the physical, right? This is how you resonate with the cosmos in that way, right? In terms of the Jehuti faculty, which is the omniscient faculty. And then we get to the third faculty now, which is called the Seke or Sokar, as we have spoken in our context, right? So Sakar, that is the third faculty. And remember, this is the faculty where, this is the principle way, or the energy explanation where now Asa goes into hibernation, right? Where they would be referred to as the black god, right? And this is the omnipotent, or if you are pronouncing it like a comrade, omnipotent, right? So that we understand what the word means, right? So this is that faculty, spirit, right? And load shedding. But omnipotent basically means having an unlimited power, right? And this, now when you're thinking of the principle Enarona Yasokar, principle Enasokar, remember this is now, we're thinking that Uasa is dead and confined in a box and whatnot. But then this shows now, because the resurrection would happen now after the Sokar period, right? And we're going to go deeper into Sokar when we're dealing with the set season. When we are deep into hibernation now, when we explain, okay, Festival of Sokar ke eng. But you would see now on this chart in Arona, so this would lie above Heteru. As above Heteru, because remember Heteru, our love and whatnot. So this enables us to understand in divinity, beauty actually lies within, right? And once you're in resonance with that, you're able to now use this faculty in order for you to also be in resonance with your divine purpose or divine destiny or whatever it is. Or we'll speak of purpose one day. But so that is the faculty in Yasokara Runa, and it's above Uhete, just to also bring us closer to the fact that in divine principles, divinity actually lies from within. It's not necessarily external beauty, and beauty also speaks to this harmony that you have within yourself. And then we get to the fourth faculty, which reminded me of something that we haven't dealt with. The Holy Trinity, right? But I wanted to speak the Holy Trinity in terms of Ma'ati, in terms of Jehuti, but we still hanging, right? We still hanging. Okay, so anyway, so Ma'ate is the personification of justice, truth, and balance. As we always speak about, this is the divine law. This is how Ma'ate exists, right? So this faculty, this is the stage where we no longer dealing ka guilty, we're no longer dealing ka the conscious level, because now we are able to observe these divine principles, the 42 laws. We're now able to operate in truth, and you strengthen this by operating in truth, by always seeking justice, divine justice. And that is how you strengthen this faculty ya ma'at, where now you're not operating ka guilt, you're not operating ka conscience, solar plexus things. And then we get to the fifth faculty, which is the faculty of Oherukuti. Now, if you remember, if you go a season before this one, we spoke Herukuti. We explained the divine names are Heru, right? Heru of the two horizons. Remember, we spoke Heru of the two horizons, but we didn't have enough time. And I said, because we're still hanging, we're going to speak more onto this. Harikisa, the Sphinx element to it. But basically, the lands of the higher self, the lower self, that is where, the lower self, higher self, Heru Amashamabili, the sun, the moon, Heru that exists in the lower kingdom and the upper kingdom. So that is Heru, Herukuti, Heru of the two horizons. And this is the faculty now that seeks for divine justice, right? And not divine justice in terms of revenge, in terms of destroying so that we can rebuild again, but this is now in terms of now re-establishing the divine laws of Ma'at within self, right? Divine laws of Ma'at within this this body, which is also that needs to be in resonance, that nice resonance between the cosmic body as well as the physical body, right? So yeah, that is a faculty number 5. Then we get to sixth faculty, which is the faculty of Heru. We spoke extensively about Heru. We spoke about the ascension principle of Heru. We spoke about the God self of Heru. I like referring it as the higher God or higher consciousness, or the God self of Heru, right? Where we're always seeking this higher consciousness. So this is basically the will. In other texts also, and I think we did touch on it on a little bit, the will, right? And I spoke a lot the solar plexus, right? And Boshakra hands, when they speak a lot on the solar plexus, which is the one that was represented by yellow, which is part of the bottom ones here. But okay, willpower, that is where now you are activating your Heru self, your God self, because only you're gonna raise yourself. Like I always say, you are your own hero. So you need to tap into this God self able for you to be able to rise up to this higher consciousness, or this divine self of yours, or to this highest or higher God self of yours, right? And this is where now you're living beyond any animal desires. You're not controlling it last, not controlling it basically, right? And this is now when your moral code Lona is in alignment nicely with your divinity. You basically now existing as a god on earth. Right, so this is faculty number 6. And then we get to the 7th faculty, which is the faculty of Heteru. And remember, the word Heteru basically means the house of Heru, right? But this divine principle in Arona, so this is where the expression of love and sometimes lust and joy and the fun times, one of my favorite seasons actually, besides union and limjolo and lust and all of that. But it's really, really such a happy season. It's really a season of joy and like who easy, who lively after the whole hibernation period and getting into the new year. And then now we're in celebration mode, right? And this is where now this faculty, you express it by you expressing your emotions, right? This is where now the power of emotional expression is harnessed. This is where, and how do you do this? So you foster proper, genuine connections with people. You foster embracing joy, the happy times. Now also, in another text that would refer to this faculty as the faculty where the imagination lives, right? So a lot of scholars go into this principle. And where I'd want to bring it to is in because now we are in this expressive mode, and how do we enhance imagination in our own, right? And because remember, we are speaking of wellness now. So when we're speaking of wellness, we're enhancing this imagination faculty in our own by speaking positivity, positive affirmations, by thinking positive thoughts, by imagining positive thoughts, right? imagining positive thoughts, operating from love, forming proper connections, genuine connections, loving connections, fostering harmony, the wellness of that. So you are basically reprogramming yourself. You are loying yourself basically with good things, right? And this is how you enhance the faculty in ya heteru. And remember, that is where the joy and the love lives, and we always wanting to ascend to positive thoughts. And this is also helping us now ascend to our higher kingdom self, right? So we always need to elevate from the kingdom, where set operates, right? Where it's just low vibrations and all of that, and tapping into high vibrations. And then we get to the 8th faculty, which is sebek, or sobek, in the context that we have spoken about this energy, right? So sobek, if you go, I think it was this season we spoke, right? Babariki, Lord of the Crocodiles, and then we linked this back to the Nile River. We linked this back to Kalaya Gabe, where other texts would represent Ugabe with blue and green, and blue would be representation of the waters, and then now going back also to the source, Kozebtebi, more now Ununwet, who is also present, or the primordial waters, or the waters got primeval times, right? And Kawakabo Bakwena a lot, the people that have totems study crocodile a lot. So yeah, in other texts, when we do our creation story, we're gonna expand a little bit more. We're gonna touch more on this principle. Yeah, okay, Gap Nalithing go beginning now. How does Gap also exist there? I thought you guys said it's Ma'atli, Le Jehuti or Tehuti there, right? So this faculty in, and this is the intellect faculty, to not be confused with faculty in ya Tehuti. But also, when we spoke of Tehuti or Jehuti, we a little bit on this principle. We also spoke a little bit on the feminine aspect of Tehuti, right? Where knowledge would exist in the other the dual form of what we're known as Tehuti, right? About a little bit on the Matakwani part of it. But anyway, so this is the faculty of intellect, right? And when we're looking at a lot of people in the West, or ideologies in the West, or how people understand these principles in the West, they only speak of they're able to access only the sebek state of things, right? Because intellect is, you can learn to be an intellectual, right? Versus now with spiritual intellect, it's something else. This is now a resonance that you would need to get to, or you enhance your spiritual activity, spiritual life, in order for you to reach that phase, right? And I said I'm going to speak a little bit more on this. So you know how I always say that I know how I always say, but okay, I have now that I'm more right? I feel, and people get so offended, but I feel that if I knew what I knew now, regarding economics, regarding business, regarding life in general, right? There's a lot of things I could have stayed, right? It's like studying engineering for one. I could have not done such things, right? And could have understood man. And like, book knowledge does not necessarily translate to intelligence or stuff like that, right? Yeah, the exercises that you do in attaining that, sharp, they would assist in that. But I feel what we refer to as Makaba, they actually have better knowledge, than book knowledge. And especially because knowledge or education, knowledge, like, we basically being taught by our kids, aka the lighter races and whatnot, right? Instead of tapping into sacred knowledge. And like I say, like, also when engaging with this content, there's a Ndlovukazi that I know very well. She commented on one live on the Moyo podcast, on one live, Uguti, like with certain things, or certain individual, they need or they're speaking on that speaker, or that live hori, they understand things, they speak from spiritual intelligence, right? They speak from spiritual intelligence. And like I say, like, always got content in our own, right? I don't say too often, but I do say hori, with things of spirit, some things you can be trained, you know, okay, like I said, I'll give a review, yeah, my Reiki healing situation, right? And because okay, one, maybe I also had preconceived ideas, or no, I'm expecting somebody of Indian descent to be doing this thing. But there's certain things where you can trade. Let us content, you can go parrot word by word for it, you know. But until you have the spiritual understanding, or you are able to get spiritual assistance in understanding it, it can just be a text, or it falls flat. Like I feel horika into ya Reiki, right? Or okay, you understand, and yeah, I know it's wrong because it's a little bit judgy, right? Hore, you can be trained with certain things, but some things it's either you have it or you don't. And with a lot of spiritual things, they come from within, but some things you can train. So with this faculty as a bake, it doesn't help that you have intellect for the sake of intellect, right? Which is what the West usually does, right? But you need to be able to tap into divinity. Otherwise, if you're just having this intellect for the sake of intellect, that is you still operating on a set level, right? You are now still operating on the lower kingdom. And then, not in offense, Libo Set. Actually, Set is gonna be my favorite season to unpack as well, because we're always thinking, oh, Set, negative and whatnot. But we did have, no, you guys have been with me long enough. Actually, we did have a Set season, but we'll expand more on Set. I like speaking on the Set principles, right? So in this faculty mona, so this is where not always employ whatever belief system that you have, right? That's why I always say here, no, we're not forming a religion, we're not forming a cult or anything like that, but this is tools to better help us understand ourselves better, to help us understand okay, who are we in regards to nature, in regards to cosmos. Help us get to that point where actually everything here, the cosmos, nature, neta, we are one with those, right? We are one with those. So yeah, so that is how that is that faculty. It can literally be just you are intelligent, but in order for you to be able to have that deeper resonance, in order for you to be able to tap into a Tahuti state, you need to understand it from a spiritual, you need to have intellect, or harness your intellect in a spiritual manner, right? And I like how it mentioned both the Tahuti leather, the Sobek faculties, in order for us to be able to get the distinction thereof. And then we get to number 9, one of my favorite numbers, because also it is 3 times 3, that's 3 to the power of 2. But the Osset faculty, this is the divine, part of the divine feminine. This is the goddess, right? This is the faculty that is, yeah, very, very important. And it's on Thursday, yes, as an FYI. Thursday, actually 21, we have a lesson, a live session on Moya Podcast. So please come with your questions and answers. We're going to be opening our season now, set, and then we're going to drop our own 2 days later, I think, by the 23. I'm not too sure. We might do it on the same day, but there's also an event that I'm going to be wanting to share with you guys, yeah, regarding Sheffield. But anyway, so the 9th faculty, the faculty of a set, which is a very, 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 very a vital faculty. So if we go into our text and the stuff that we've spoken about, so a set is a very, very crucial part. Is a vital part. Remember, vitality would link to life. So a very vital part in reconstructing asa. Remember, I spoke about remembering, which is putting ourselves together, or when we take it to the textile mythology, where the members of their body, their hands, their arms, because Asa, remember, got dismembered. So putting Asa together, as Oset is very, very vital. In Greek mythology, you would know this principle as Isis, right? Can't wait. It's gonna be a dope episode. Yeah. So this faculty is quite vital in breathing life into putting back Asa, or our God cells, or our God cells after our rebirthed self. All right. And why I'm mentioning this, so Oset, or this faculty, this is the faculty now that is responsible for the trances and the reprogramming of your being, right? So yeah, funny enough, the last trance I went into, not like in psychedelic or anything, but just, from school and whatnot, was literally during an Osset ceremony, an Osset season. So very interesting. that we're speaking about it now. But this is the faculty that controls the trances, that controls the passion in you, right? And with other scholars also, they like putting Osset where the heart chakra lives, right? But with somebody but we're gonna we'll go into Osset a little bit more. But that nurturing energy, that nurturing, and by going into trance, you're able to tap into some other spiritual messages that you'll not necessarily find them in your super conscious state, right? Not super, well, physically conscious state. So this faculty that is responsible for that. So this also enhances how do you tap into this faculty. And this is the faculty that's responsible for intuition as well. This is the faculty, you would do a lot of devotion in this faculty. Remember, hibernation period in our so you're going to be doing a lot of spiritual work in this season. So devotion, being able to receive messages. This is prevalent now in this faculty in Osset, which is number 9 now on the tree of life, right? And then we get to the final one, which is the 11th, if we're counting from 0, but the 10th faculty, which is the faculty in where Geb would reside, which is the season in Arona. And I'm glad it's the 10th one because we are closing our season, Geb. So Geb, in this faculty here, we have the electromagnetic body, which is called the Kabit. We spoke about this when we spoke about the 9 parts of the soul. Right, so we spoke, and then also this is where the molecular body, which is the cut, and we spoke about this one as well. Sorry, the cab. We spoke about this one as well, which is now the physical body, the shadow self, existing now on this tree of life. And this is how do you harness this? So you do a lot. We're gonna do a lot of breathing work. Remember, a lot of grounding is happening now. Got a season of Cape, so proper breath is enhanced here for you to be able to ascend to this level, or for you to be in alignment to this faculty in. So do a lot of book of breathing, step into the book of breathing, a lot of breath work. And this would be where now also the 5 organ systems are governed by this faculty, which is the heart, small intestine system, the lung, large intestine system, liver, gallbladder system, the spleen and stomach system, the liver and bladder system. So you see, this is where the physical vitality of this physical body, right? Physical body, shadow self in to better understand what do I mean by the shadow self, the physical self, the physical body, please go to the episode in Arona. Maybe I should link it. I will link it at the end of this episode, where it explains the 9 parts of the soul, right? So that is our Persia tree, which is our tree of life. And I hope it wasn't too much to not understand, but like I say, please activate your first eye or your spiritual eye, or what we have come to know as the third eye. Or just do a little prayer, light the incense, or just go through the content over and over. Sometimes your spirit will meet you, God, repeating certain things. Some things will resonate differently. That is why, like, even with the books that we read, at times that repetition of it at a certain time. We know how to speak about timing and time and whatnot. So sometimes you can be exposed to content at a certain period of your life, but it will only make sense to you maybe like 10 years later or 5 years later, like some of us where we had bumped into the content, but only later on we're able to understand it or be in resonance with it, because now our spiritual eye is silly activated. Now we're able to link and now able to form that harmony between our cosmic self or spiritual selves, the physical self. But I can add, if this is content that does resonate with you, please give me a subscribe there. Please like, please share, please engage with us in the comment section. Please also bring your own understanding of the tree of life as well. I really enjoy the engagement that we have in the comment section. I enjoy learning from you guys as well. Like I'm saying, getting knowledge sharing session. As much as I have teachers in my lineage and I'm a teacher, whatever it is, but I love learning. I love also learning from you guys as well. So happy today, Anken Ma'at. I do apologize about the lighting. Load shedding in Patrekile, and I was not in proper resonance to be able to deliver the episode a bit earlier. But Uncle Ma'at, happy today, to our give, to our Lefatshe, to our Umhlaba, happy balancing, happy manifesting, happy bringing things to life, happy harvesting, happy ending off the season. Don't forget to also have a gratitude once we are done with season in. But Uncle Ma'at, and happy today.